Alright, this is part 3 of the utility shed design, and in this part we're going to be changing some of our building components and then creating a wall section and adding that wall section to our construction drawing that you're going to submit on Echo. So go ahead and open your utility shed. And we want to open the floor plan to be able to change some of the components. And but first we're going to create a section view. So under the View tab, click on Section. And we want to do the longest wall, one of the 16-foot walls. And I'm just going to click and then kind of click down. And notice that it put a rectangular box around this section. I'm going to drag this out almost to the end, not quite to the end. So this is the section that we'll see. And if you notice down here in your project browser, there is now a section tab and there's a section 1. Double click that. This is the section 1. And you can, just like before, we can actually need to probably make that a little bit bigger, the crop box on the sides, but make the top and bottom a little bit smaller. Now that we have the section view created, we're going to change the scale of it to a 1/2 inch equals a foot. And the other thing we're going to do is make the detail level fine. So if you just click this rectangle and then change it to fine. Now what we want to do is we're going to be changing our shed walls to be, instead of on metal studs, we want those on wooden studs. So if you just select this wall, and you can do this in any view, and remember that's the basic wall shed with siding. So I'm going to edit that and edit the structure. And this metal stud layer right here, we're going to change that to lumber. So I'm going to click the 3 dots beside of the metal stud layer and use the down arrow and change this to wood. And we want to find softwood. Lumber. Here it is, softwood lumber. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I want to change the that to, actually it's considered a 2x4, but it's really 3.5 inches. So it's 0 feet and then 3 space 1/2 inches. Also, they want me to change the plywood sheathing to a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to click 1/2 inch there. And then I'll go ahead and click OK on that. And then I'll say remove constraints. And that should be correct now. So I'll go ahead and click OK again. So that has changed that. Then we're also going to change the floor to be concrete. Now we, go ahead and click the floor. I don't want to modify this one because this is one that was not one that we duplicated. It was actually in the library. So this time I'm going to click Edit Type and click Duplicate. And I'm going to call this concrete floor with wood finish. And click OK. Then we're going to edit that. And the finishes, the oak flooring is okay, but I'm going to change this plywood sheathing. So I'm going to click the 3 dots beside of that. And that's going to be concrete. So if you just scroll up and find concrete, and I'm just going to do cast in place concrete and click OK. And instead of that being 3/4 of an inch, it's going to be 6 inch. And there won't be any reason for rafters or wood joist, so I'm going to click on 4 and hit delete. So we've still got our oak flooring, and now we have cast in place concrete. And I'll click OK, and then OK again. And notice you can kind of see that it changed that. I do want to go to my floor plan and just double check and make sure that my floor boundary is still okay. So I'm going to click the floor, click edit boundary, and all of my pink lines are still on the outside, so we're okay with that. Alright, now let's go back to the section view. And we're going to start labeling some of our things that are here in our section. Again, I might need to pull this out a little bit. So, under the Annotate tab, you can tag things, and you can just do that by adding text. I like to use the material tag, and it will automatically tag materials for me. It tells us to tag the gypsum board. So if I click material, and you can see that it recognizes the gypsum board. So I'm going to click that, click again, and kind of click out here, and it will put that tag in for me. They also want me to tag the cedar siding, and that one is not coming up. So this time I will use the tag by category, and I can change that to cedar siding. I might not want to tag back category. I actually want to use the text box on that one. So click Annotate and click Text. And I do want to use a leader line. And we can do that. There's a leader line here somewhere. There it is, the 2-segment leader line. So we'll just kind of scroll in here, and this will be our cedar siding. And you might have to change the font and things as well, so you can see how big it is right now. So we should be able to do that here. So the way to change the font is if you just click on that and then click the down arrow here, you can change it to 330 seconds, and that seems to be better. I am going to try to move this in as well, so that, because we want to make sure we can get this on there. So I'm going to keep working on the things that they want me to tag. The other thing they want me to tag is the plywood sheathing. So again, I'm going to try to use the material tag when I can. So there's plywood sheathing. And they want me to do that on the roof, the floor, and the wall. So there it is on the wall. So I can do it on the roof now, but it's not coming up. So I'll have to do text again and change that to plywood sheathing, and then again I'm going to change that text to 330 seconds. There we go. And I can increase that. Maybe that will get it on one line. It's not helping with that, so let's just get that back in. I think that'll be fine there. And then I need to do it on the floor as well. So I'm going to try the material tag and see if I can get that on the floor. There's plywood sheathing there on the floor. Okay. Then they want me to do the 2x4 studs. So we'll see if we can add that in there as well. That's not coming up. Now something else is coming up here. I'm not even sure what that means, but I'm going to use it, and I can edit what text comes up there. So I can just double click that and change that to 2x4 studs at 24 inch. I want to realign that. I'm not sure how that got going that way. So I'll make that horizontal again. And it's supposed to be 24 inch on center. OC means on center, and again it's vertical again on me, so if I just click this and then change this to horizontal, that'll work. I can move that out maybe. There we go. Okay, then I want the rafters in the roof. Now I think in my roof that I forgot to change my roof to asphalt, so I'm going to click that now. It's right on a basic roof right now, so I want to change that to wood rafter asphalt shingles. And now I'll go back to my section view, and you'll notice that it's a little different now. So there's my plywood sheathing. I'm going to go ahead and material tag, see if it'll come in. It's just saying wood frame insulated, but I can use that tag and again change it. So I'm going to hit escape and then change this to 2x8 rafters at 24 inches on center. They also want me to tag the asphalt shingles. So I'm going to use this again, and you can see that that comes up, the asphalt shingles does. Sometimes it takes a minute to get it up there. So there's the asphalt roofing shingles. And then the last thing that they want me to tag is the 6-inch concrete slab. So I'm going to tag that as well. So down here, it's got cast in place concrete. I'm going to use that tag. And I'll double click and just call it 6-inch concrete slab. So you're really just showing what your wall is made out of. The next thing they want me to do is add insulation into the walls and into the roof. So under Annotate, there's a tool called Insulation. I'm going to click that. Click the bottom of your wall, the end point, and then just drag up, and that adds insulation. It defaults to 3.5 inches, which is the standard size wall. I'm also going to add insulation into the roof, so I'm going to click the end of the roof there and add it. The problem with that is that it's not thick enough, so I'm going to hit Escape a couple of times. I'm going to click this insulation I just added in my roof, and I'm going to change that. Instead of 3.5 inches, I'm going to make it 7.5, which is it's 8-inch rafters, but that's really 7.5 inches. So now my insulation is in there, and I'm going to tag the insulation as well. And I think that's the last thing that we have to tag. So if I click Annotate, I'm pretty sure that the insulation doesn't come up. So I'll go ahead and use Annotate and use text and the double leader line. And so I'll just tag just call it bat insulation. Bat insulation is the kind that you put between boards. It's not spray in, but it's just the normal, what you see in rolls. So I'm going to add that here as well in the wall. And again, bat insulation. And I'll hit Escape a couple of times. And now we have all of our tags finished. I might move that into the middle of the wall a little bit, so it kind of looks like the arrow is pointing to the outside. So there we go. So if you can kind of play with those arrows, but you can kind of see that. So the next thing that we want to do is add this section view to our sheet. So click on and show the crop box, and I think that I can bring that crop box in a little bit maybe. On that side, I might want to bring it out a little bit on this side to show the roof and floor elevations. So I'm going to bring those in, and then bring this back in. I can go in and drag that insulation up more. So there's my section view. So I'm pretty happy with that now. So I'm just going to add it to my sheet. So go back under Sheets, double click your sheet. We're probably going to have to move this one over so that we can get our section view here. Might have to move that one over as well. And so I'm just going to drag the section view in there. And the section views are generally pretty large. So that will be our section view. Try to get this one a little bit more out of the way. Looks like my elevation views have the crop box on those, so I'm going to go and take those off. I think it was the south one. And then let's go back and look at our sheet. So now those are off of there. And so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and drag that whole view over. And then you want to print this. I'm going to go ahead and save it now. And then notice that this tagged the section that we're seeing the section view of. So then I want to print that as a PDF. And then go ahead and hit OK. And I'll save it as my green utility shed PDF. Save that. I'm going to replace the one I did before. And this is what you will upload on Echo.